Is that what you're mad about? That I took the deal?
Oops, clumsy me.
I say to all of you, I have been treated this day with no respect.
Joe Mantegna.
Joe Mantegna is an American actor who has been a star of the big and small screen for over 50 years. He's probably most well known for his role in The Godfather Part III, where he played the character of Zoe Zasa.
You will not give, I'll take.
Performing in theatre as well, he picked up a Tony for his role in Glengarry Glen Ross.
Joe Mantegna in Glengarry Glen Ross.
And if you needed more proof of this actor's diversity, 30 years ago, one of the biggest TV shows in the world came calling.
I can't believe we were gonna shoot him.
And Joe became the voice of a fan favourite, the mobster Fat Tony.
You see, my wife, she has been most vocal on the subject of the pretzel monies.
And today, in his 70s, he's still acting, starring as the FBI special agent David Rossi in the hit TV show Criminal Minds on CBS.
Rare to get a 911 call from Emily.
And in this interview, Joe tells me about getting that big break in The Godfather.
I've earned you all money.
And the owner of the restaurant goes, Joe Mantegna, you son of a gun, you're going to be in a Godfather movie. And I'm saying, well, where did you hear that?
And who his Simpsons character is based on.
Then I thought about my Uncle Willie, and I thought, well, Willie would talk like something like this.
Hey, wait a minute.
We talk about the ups and downs of a life in show business.
Highs are fewer and far between, and the lows, they're a longer period of the lows.
And Joe opens up about his daughter Mia, who was born with severe autism.
She doesn't understand
Envy, bitterness.
envy, jealousy, vindictiveness.
And he explains how his faith, and in particular devotion to Padre Pio, has helped him throughout life.
I'm in this chapel, and I knelt down and I said, look, boy, could I use your help right now.
I'm Colm Flynn, and this is an interview with Hollywood actor Joe Mantegna. Joe, great to see you. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
My pleasure, thank you.
First of all, sorry, what happened? You got a bit delayed coming in last night. It was a bit all mixed up.
You know, these things happen with airlines and weather and all of that, but it's I'm here now.
You made it.
So I made it.
The show must go on.
The show must go on, and did go on.
You've been saying that for 55 years now, or maybe even more.
Yeah, I have. It's been a wonderful ride. I mean, I at 16 years old, I think I made that decision. Oh, wow, I think I would like to do this, you know, and it was just a fluke. I tried out for a play, almost on a dare, didn't get cast, but the experience of auditioning, I was like, oh, this is the people. People running around in black leotards and stuff like that.
You thought the glamour of this.
I don't know what it was. There was something about it. Maybe it's because after I did my audition, there was a smattering of applause, and nobody had ever applauded anything I'd done before. And I thought, I want to relive that moment.
And did your parents say to you, but Joe, this is a cutthroat business. It's so difficult to make it in.
My parents had no clue what the business was. My mother lived to be 101 years old.
Wow.
And when she passed away at 101, I have a brother who's 8 years older than I am. And we both spoke at her funeral, and my brother spoke first. And what he said was, he says, our mother called him fairly recently at that point, before she passed away. And she said to my brother, Ron, I'm worried about Joey. And my brother said, why? And she said, now Criminal Minds had just been starting to air at that point. She said, he's only working an hour a week. Yeah, so that's the depth of my parents' knowledge of kind of what show business was.
Yeah.
You know, all she knew was her friends told her, well, if you watch 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, you'll see your son, you know, and it was like, how could he be, you know, how good could this be? Maybe I better send him $20. So
she didn't get the showbiz world.
No, they didn't get it. She knew I was doing it. She'd seen me in the movies and plays and whatever, but she just figured, well, you know, it didn't seem real. It didn't seem like a job. So, but that's okay. I think that was the best kind of possible support.
Because it kept you grounded and
kept me grounded. I think, yeah. How big can I think of myself when my own parents were kind of like, I'm not sure what he's doing, but
because no matter what age we are or who we are or what we do, we always listen to mommy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it was just a perfect kind of a thing. I appreciate that.
I remember once you were in Broadway and there was a big play you were involved in, and you rang your mom and said, you know, I'm going to fly you out.
Right.
Come to see it. What'd she say?
Yeah, it was Glenn Ross. The show had won the Pulitzer Prize. I had won the Tony Award. And my mom said, well, will you be playing it in Chicago?
Yeah.
I said, well, yeah. I said, on tour eventually. We'll get there probably a year from now, which we did. And she says, oh, I'll see you with your Aunt Lolly, which was her sister, you know, when you get here. I was like, yeah. And then, of course, when I won the Tony Award, and I thanked her in my speech, I of course, thanked my wife, my mother, you know, the women in my life. And I remember my mother would tell people, oh, yeah, Joey, he won the Oscar for the plays.
Yeah.
I mean, that was her take on what a Tony was.
Did she ever realize the enormity of your success and the projects you were involved in the movies?
I don't know. I don't think so. And of course it didn't matter. All she cared about was, you know, that I was happy, that she loved my wife. I have 2 daughters, that she loved the fact that she had these 2 more grandchildren.
Isn't it beautiful that that was more important to her in a way, the grandchildren?
Well, without question. No, without question. And that's talk. I mean, that's a perfect example of getting your priorities right.
You say that now with the gift of wisdom and looking back, but you know, it's a relentless business, and to make it to the top, I guess, in any industry, you have to give it your all and really work hard at it. And then sometimes that famous line, inherit the wind, or you know, you get nothing for nothing, something always sacrifices. Did you find it difficult when you were ascending in the showbiz world and your family had such needs? And
everybody has, yeah, I live by the motto, everybody has a story and nobody gets a free ride. So I mean, I have my story, you have yours, everybody on this planet has theirs. And if you dig deep enough, not one of them are going to say, perfect. Everything happened exactly as I wanted it to be, and I wouldn't change a thing.
No one says in their deathbed, well, that was an easy ride.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, exactly. So, yes, there's sort of a difficult, but I had no plan B. I mean, in the sense of, I always enjoyed the pursuit. But even when things were bad, when I was, you know, making, you know, my wife and I have been together a very long time, going on 50 years, over 50 years now. Even when times were bad, we still enjoyed the ride. We enjoyed what we were doing, and it didn't matter. So, you know.
How do you stay grounded in that world of the highs of landing the big part, you know, just acing the audition, and then the lows of the phone's not ringing, the agent's not getting as many bookings? It's a difficult thing, the temperament.
It is, but again, that's the game. That's the way it is, and I don't think it's much different in whatever your profession may be. I mean, sometimes whatever you're pursuing, sometimes the phone doesn't ring, sometimes that opportunity is not there.
But maybe the highs are higher and the lows are lower.
Maybe so. I mean, certainly the highs are fewer and far between, and the lows, there are a longer period of the lows. But that's life.
Speaking of the highs, when you got the call, actually no, for The Godfather, you didn't get the call from your agent. You were down. What happened? You were picking up some linguine.
Yes, exactly right. I was picking up some linguine from the local Italian restaurant around the corner. When I walked in, I knew I was being considered for a role in the movie. I mean, I did this, I knew. But that's all I knew. It was like, yeah, you're under consideration. And I walk in to pick it up, and the owner of the restaurant goes, Joe Mantegna, you son of a gun, you're going to be in a Godfather movie. I go, what? He goes, you're going to be in a Godfather movie. What are you kidding? You come on. And I'm saying, well, where did you hear that? And it turns out his nephew worked in the casting office in New York, where they were putting together, that was like his Friday. It was like Friday afternoon, they were making their final decisions, and apparently, and this is very common in the movie business, when they're kind of figuring out the final casting, they take your picture and they pin it on the wall so they can say, okay, Al Pacino, of course, is doing it, and you know, Diane Keaton is doing it. And Joe Mantegna is going to play this part. So they put he worked in that office as a, you know, I don't know what his job was, but he called his uncle, said, hey, you know, I know Joe goes to your restaurant. That's great. He's doing. So of course he assumed I knew.
Yeah. And he's like, keep it quiet, don't tell anyone. Then you walk in.
Yeah, and it was like So I said, well, I said, I know I'm up for the part. I'm not sure. He goes, oh, come on. He thought I'm kidding with him, you know. I ran back to my house.
You dropped the pasta, ran home.
I said, yeah, what's going on? He goes, I was just going to call you. We just got the word.
Wow. I
said, well, I already got the word. The pizza guy beat you by half an hour.
How did you feel when you got that? call, the confirmation?
Well, I think I have a dear friend, and obviously you could tell he's Italian with his name, Vincent Guastafaro. But the best quote that I got from him was, "Joey, you're going to be in the Italian Star Wars." and that's kind of how I felt. It was like, wow, this is, as movie world goes, this is as good as I wanted to get, hoping to get to.
Did it change your life forever?
I don't know what changes one's life or what doesn't change one's life. It certainly was one little notch that I can say, boy, I'm really glad to have had that experience and to work with those people and just have that whole experience. But that's the business I'm in. I mean, so I know to the public they would think, oh wow, you did this, you did that, you're in the movies, you're in TV, you're in theater. And I get that, and that's why I do feel blessed, because I've made a wonderful living doing what other people would probably do for free.
And still doing it.
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing Criminal Minds. I'm still doing The Simpsons. Been doing Criminal Minds for, this will be my 17th year doing it, 16th, 17th year, and I've been in The Simpsons for 32 years.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Isn't that? And because I remember talking to an actor once, and they say, Colm, those, as you mentioned, like those highs of the big parts, they come and go, but they maybe get all the attention, and people think you've made it for life because of that part. And he said, no, it's the name of the game is longevity,
right?
And having a long career.
No, exactly right.
The Simpsons. What has the response to that been like? Because I know we watched it growing up in Ireland. It has a huge international general audience, but it also has then its cult following.
Yeah.
When you're Fat Tony.
Oh yeah. I've and they have these events. They used to do this thing where the premiere of the new season corresponds with the wrapping of the series of the actual recording of the series, because there's such a lag time between doing the voiceover and then they have to animate to the voices. Yes. So because of that, they kind of finish animating the last episode right when they're going to premiere the first episode. So they have this huge party every year, lately at Universal Studios, because they have this whole Simpsons world. And so a lot of times certain fans will get invited because they've been such loyal fans of the show and they know somebody and they come. And I remember one instance where a guy comes running up to me and goes, "Joe Mantegna, oh my God." And he rolls up his sleeve and he has this huge tattoo of Fat Tony, on his, and I'm thinking, wow, okay.
You're thinking this guy needs a psychological evaluation.
I don't know. I'm thinking, all right, and I don't even know what to say, like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people ask me to then sign my name, and then they'll show up later and they've actually had it tattooed.
Tattooed, wow.
It's like, wow, okay, but whatever.
And that's your uncle, Joe, isn't that? Uncle Willie. He was Fat Tony.
That's where I got the voice from my Uncle Willie, because my Uncle Willie talked like this. and what it was is, and the reason I chose that is the Godfather movie was still running when I got the first call to do the very first episode of The Simpsons. In fact, I assumed, well, that's why
they want that voice.
They want that character.
Yes.
Not even the voice. It's because I'm doing my own voice as Joey Zasa in Godfather 3. But I figure I'm playing this gangster, which is a very high-profile movie at the time. The Godfather. I'm the villain. It's perfect maybe guy to play this character, Fat Tony, on The Simpsons. So I thought it was going to be a one-shot deal. And that's why they called me. But then I thought to myself, I can't do my own voice, because then that's going to sound like Joey Zasa. The same character from Godfather is also Fat Tony. And I thought, that's not right. That's kind of not, it would almost be disrespectful to the film.
Yeah.
So I said, well, how can I change my voice? Then I thought about my Uncle Willie, and I thought, well, Willie would talk like something like this. I thought, that seems to befit a guy named Fat Tony. Let me try that. Yeah.
Did your Uncle Willie take it as a compliment or an insult that he was
took
Fat
it as
Tony?
a huge compliment.
He liked it?
He took it as a huge compliment. In fact, he's the only person that because normally I would never do that voice outside of doing The Simpsons. I don't do it. I wouldn't do it like for commercials or this, that, and the other, because that's their property. But for Willie, I did his answering machine.
What did you say?
And I wouldn't say it was Fat Tony. I just said, "Hi, you've reached Willie. Leave a message." And I think to most people who called, they just thought it was Willie.
That's funny. They didn't tell the difference.
No, he couldn't tell the difference.
Didn't you took your Uncle Willie to the set one day of The Simpsons, and you introduced him to all the staff and said,
I did. I brought him once to the record. I'd probably already been doing it for 10 years at that point. He happened to be visiting me in California, and I brought him to the recording studio. And I says, "Hey, I want you to meet somebody. Say hi, Willie." hey, hi, everybody, how you doing? And it was like, oh my God, that's it. This is ground zero for Fat Tony. Because they all knew I'd picked, used my uncle's voice.
Before I ask you about your family, and I want your favorite thing you did with The Simpsons, your favorite character scene with Fat Tony.
Boy, there's been a lot. It's hard to get away from that very first episode that introduced the character because we're basically Bart becomes part of the mob for a hot minute. We dress him up like he's Frank Sinatra, and I mean it's like that was pretty fun. Then there was one where I think I almost married one of Marge's sisters or something. She became my guma instead of my wife.
I remember that.
There's that. When there was the pretzel monies, I know is often I get the fans. A lot of them will say they'll quote lines to me, thinking I would memorize them all.
That's fantastic.
And they'll say lines like, what about the pretzel money? And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that episode. But they've all been.
It's a great compliment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and so like I say, I love doing the role, and
That's great.
I enjoy it.
You've been blessed, beautiful career, beautiful family as well. And I know you said married 50.
I got married in 1975 on top of the Eiffel Tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
You proposed or got married on top of the Eiffel Tower?
No, we got married on top of the Eiffel Tower, but it was very much 70s hippie style. Let's just do it kind of thing. We don't need any permission. We don't need any of this stuff. We're just going to do it. But we've been together since 1969. So if my wife always hates when I start dating us from 75. She goes, we've been together longer than that.
Yeah.
I said, that's true. We were together for about 6 years before we finally got married.
And you're blessed with two beautiful daughters, Gia and Mia.
Gia and Mia, correct.
Mia born with autism.
Yes.
How did that change your life, having a daughter with those needs?
People ask me that. I say, I don't know what it's like not to have a daughter with autism. So to me, that is our life. That is what that is. I don't know how it's changed. It is what it is. It is my life. They'll be coming here tomorrow. They'll all be arriving here in Washington.
She stays with you and your wife. She's in her 30s now, late 30s?
Mia's in her they're both in their 30s. One's 37, the other one's 35, 6. It's hard to keep track now.
I heard a beautiful thing you said once in an interview, because people talk about abilities and disabilities and needs, and you said that she has a pure heart, or heart of love.
Absolutely. They are pure of heart. I mean, they're the ones that put a smile on God's face because they never do anything to offend him. They are pure of heart. They have and that's how my daughter Mia is. She doesn't understand
envy, bitterness.
Envy, jealousy, vindictiveness. Sure, she can get frustrated and stuff like that, but the idea of perhaps trying to hurt someone or make somebody feel bad, it would not even be in her radar. Her idea, she's in her late 30s, and her idea to this day is a good time would be, let's go to Disneyland and meet the princesses, and just to be able to talk to them and sing the song back to them. So that childlike kind of
it's a beautiful pureness, isn't it? Unbelievable
pureness. There's no way else to describe it. Now, of course, look. On the other hand, if I could change that in a heartbeat, and
would you change it and change the pureness?
I only because I would think I would like her to have that experience because look, yes, life can have its pains and this, that, and the other, but there are other experiences too that would give her that independence, because as it is now, she constantly would always have to have somebody kind of be there with her.
Yes.
And I think there would be a trade-off there. I mean, but again, it's a moot point. I don't have that power, and so it's not meant to be, and it's just fine.
You're a man of strong faith with a particular devotion to Padre Pio, and I know heavily involved in the St. Pio Foundation.
Right.
But when you had Mia and you realized that she would be born with autism, did that challenge your faith? Did you think, God, why?
I don't know if it challenged it, but I'll tell you this. I remember when Mia was born, under very trying circumstances. She was the reason, probably contributed to her autism. She was born at 1 pound, 13 ounces. She was 3 months premature. And she was one of the smallest babies born in California that year.
Wow.
And it happened like boom, 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 boom. It was like unexpected, of course. And my wife had to be operated on. They had to take the baby out. And I remember when I was at the hospital, not knowing what the outcome was going to be, I went to the chapel. And I did that thing like you see in the movies. I'm in this chapel, and I knelt down and I said, look, I know I'm not, I don't know, I don't think I deserve anything, and I know I'm not the best, I haven't necessarily lived the most exemplary life in the world, and I'm certainly not the most religious person in the world. But if there's anything to this, boy, could I use your help right now. Just do this, and I'll be a better, hopefully be a better man as a result of it. If you'll just grant me this, because I don't know where else to go. There's nothing else I can do. It's out of my hands, out of everybody's hands.
And isn't it amazing that it's almost something coming out from deep within you, because you have, when your daughter is born, you have the fame and the connections, and you have the means financially, but at the end of the day, none of that matters at that moment in time. And you're there down on your knees,
absolutely,
praying to God.
Without question. No, without question. I even think of like, I was blessed to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame some years ago, and I purposely asked to get put next to Errol Flynn, who was my hero as a kid. I wanted to be an actor because he'd done the movies Robin Hood and Captain Blood and these kind of swashbucklers. I just loved him as a. Then I'd read his book at the time called My Wicked, Wicked Ways, his autobiography when I was a teenager, when I was just starting out as an actor. And I remember there was a moment in the book where he said, here I was one of the most successful actors in Hollywood. All the women loved me. I was making money. I was this. People adored me. There was even the terminology. You're in like Flynn, like that. He says, why am I sitting in my bedroom on the edge of the bed and I have a pistol and I have the barrel in my mouth? Yeah. And then something happened that caused him to interrupted him, and the moment passed and he got through it. And I never forgot that. So it's a fragile thing, humanity. And so we always have to be aware of that and be conscious of that.
And perhaps sometimes people experience it more when they have more. I interviewed Dion DiMucci once, famous for The Wanderer and Run Around Sue and all that. And he said to me, he said to himself, I've got it all, but I've got nothing. Did it satisfy you over the fame and the success and the money?
Well, look, like I say, it's still satisfying me. I'm blessed. I mean, I'm here. Look, I'm in this beautiful hotel right now, talking to you. I mean, I've grown accustomed to this lifestyle, and yet not for an instant do I forget that. I still, like I said, I had parents who didn't even really know what I did for a living, and I grew up. My father was disabled most of his life. So I never, maybe I appreciate it more because I didn't have it. I didn't grow up with it.
What age are you today?
I'm 76.
76 years young.
76 years young.
How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I'm certainly the oldest guy in the FBI, and they still got me chasing guys. And I mean, in this season coming up, they got me punching guys and clubbing guys over the head. But I'm thinking, why not?
Do you think of retirement, or do you still want to keep going? And
retirement to me is it's like, I don't even know what that word means.
What do you want to do next?
I don't know. Part of the excitement of me in this business is I don't know I can get a phone call tomorrow that changes it. When I got the phone call to hey, they're interested in you and playing this role in Criminal Minds. For all I knew, I was going to do a season on it, and that would be that. I've been doing this over 15 years. Same thing with Fat Tony, The Simpsons. I did it, thought it was a one-shot deal. So I never planned my career. You go to, you just work your way through it, and doors open, and you look through the door, and they let you in, and you try things out, and if it works out, maybe it has longevity, maybe it doesn't. That door closes, you open another.
You keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
We're talking about all the highlights and the proud moments. Any regrets?
Not really, because there's regret. You can say to yourself, I could look over my career and say, I could have done that. I could have done that, but I
just
didn't.
In life in general too.
But yeah, in life in general too. But then I have to say to myself, oftentimes regrets are based on decisions you've made, and if you could say to yourself, the decision seemed like the right thing at the moment, then you got to go. Then you got to move on. So in other words, there's things I've regretted because I've thought, I wish I would have not made that decision. Yeah. But then I have to say to myself, but I thought that was the right thing to do at the time.
But is it hard not to go off the rails with such fame and money and attention and people coming over and again, I got your character tattooed on me, and some people, they lose the head.
I know, but you know what? On the other hand, this function I was at last night, they have you'll have a young girl come up to you who's maybe college age, and she's got tears in her eyes, and she'll say to me, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's you. Because of your show, because this is why I went into criminology, and I've got my degree, and I'm going in, and I'm going to try to become a member of the FBI." I mean, when you see that, and you go, you know, you've something that you do as your profession has had this impact on what could be this person's life now. It humbles you and just makes me grateful. I say thank you for putting me in that position.
That was the St. Pio Foundation event you were at last night. Why the devotion, particularly to Padre Pio?
It helps that he was from Puglia,
Yeah.
I tell you that, because my mother was
Stone's throw.
Pugliese. There we go. And I just, the whole idea that and the other thing was brought up is Mother Cabrini. When I went to grammar school, I went to Mother Cabrini Grammar School, which was the first American saint, you know. And with Padre Pio, you're talking about was a simple man, you know, being of Italian descent, of course, brings it a little bit home for me too as well. But also it's just that, again, it's just that thing of like, throughout history, there's been seems like these special individuals who have kind of like the clowns of God in a way. They are those, for whatever reasons, they've been put in a position and have had the opportunity and the wherewithal and the courage and the whatever it may be to move civilization along and to help to do good, and to ultimately just always do good. I carry right in my pocket right now. I have a little card that's been, you know, kind of like was blessed by, touched by Padre Pio and stuff like that. So it's
Maybe a little relic of Padre Pio.
Yeah, a little. I do have. I have that at home. I have a little, you know, little piece of cloth that was part of it. And so to people get it, you don't have to explain it. Is all I can say.
It's faith. You can't
either get it,
explain
right. You either get it or you don't get it, and that's all I can say.
Joe, it's been a great career, a great life, still continuing, and it's been a pleasure talking to you as well.
It's been a pleasure me talking to you. I mean, you know, you Irishmen have a certain kind of lilt and intelligence and a way about you. Some of my closest friends, like I was talking about, brought up Dennis Leary, are Irish, and there's something about you guys that I quickly relate to. I feel a bond there. Maybe Italians and Irish for whatever reason.
You'll have to get over there to Ireland someday.
I certainly will.
You know,
but I've enjoyed this. Thank you.
That was great. Fat Tony, thank you so much.
You got it.
Joe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was great.
That was great, Colm.
That was a good rehearsal. We'll record that now.
Yeah, I gotcha.